Now, amid mounting concerns that the debt crisis in Greece could end up impacting the United States, some are saying bigger economic risks actually lie within America herself. Well, for more on this, let's cross live now to RT's Anastasia Churkina. She is joining us in New York. Hi there, Anastasia. So tell us more about this whole situation. I want you to break it down for us. What is going on over there in the Big Apple?
Well, Dina, while we have been hearing from some analysts who have really been screaming at the top of their lungs that the U.S. should be aware that the major debt crisis going on in Greece that some U.S. company have actually been involved in is going to come back to haunt the United States. Others are saying that the big risk actually lies inside the countries, and U.S. lawmakers as well as investors and everybody else should be looking closer to home. Among these people, we have been hearing from J.P. Morgan Chase Chairman Jamie Dimon, who has been saying that basically Greece's debt doesn't cause a risk or threat to American companies, and that the big concern is California, which has been struggling with a $20 billion debt. Dimon has been saying that considering California's size, the infection that comes from there could eventually really infect the rest of the country, and other parts of the country could really get hurt. He has been saying that he doesn't foresee that the European Union is going to come apart because of Greece's debt crisis, but whether or not the United States is going to be able to handle a country without a strong economic California, if the state gets in bigger troubles with a possible default, then we're going to see some major problems. He has been saying that J.P. Morgan Chase and other U.S. companies are apparently immune to the possible crises going on in Europe. However, the $20 billion debt crisis in California is really something that should be looked at more seriously, especially when we're seeing Hollywood action star turned politician Governor Schwarzenegger really struggling to make things better in California right now.
Now, you mentioned California several times. I really want you to elaborate on the economic woes of that state. I mean, how big are the problems right now? Should we all be concerned?
Well, Dina, this is one of those cases where numbers really speak for themselves. Over the last 2 years, California has been struggling with a major recession. We have seen unemployment above 12%, among the highest throughout the nation, throughout the United States. Last year, California was ranked with the biggest budget gap throughout the country at $60 billion, 3 times as much as this year. But, this new $20 billion just came back. So, the problems are not going anywhere. And we're talking about one of the largest states in the country, the biggest population throughout the United States. And last year, this state was basically on the brink of bankruptcy. We have been hearing from Schwarzenegger saying the wallet is empty, our bank is closed, and our credit is dried up. And this year, this $20 billion, whether or not something is going to be done to fix this huge budget gap remains to be seen. So far, analysts have been saying that the actions that have been taken on the state level, such as issuing IOUs, have really been, quote, comically insufficient. So one of the things we've seen happen in California was the government to come up with major budget cuts, which have basically come back to haunt the American people, because when we see cuts in in health insurance and education, things start happening like universities are forced to increase tuition by as much as 30%. Students end up coming out onto the streets, basically protesting what is going on. And some are saying if things continue going the way they are, Schwarzenegger is going to have a hard time coming up with riot police to disperse the crowds, because the police officers will actually end up being within the crowds protesting. So analysts are saying baby steps have been taken to try to do something. They haven't been very efficient, and what needs to happen is big, giant leaps that will somehow save the state.
RT's Anastasia Churkina live there for us in New York City, bringing us all those details.